Either he's auditioning for a telenovela or he really is struggling with the language barrier, because I never seen this, like this amount of emotion or words come from this man outside of him just wanting to tongue people down. And I'm just like, what? But hey y'all, it's your girl Pretty Lynn, and this is Pretty Lynn Sovereignty. If you're new here, welcome to my channel, King or Queen. If you're true here, welcome back to my channel, King or Queen. Today we are going to get into the What's the Reality TV segment. So we will be discussing Love Island Season 8, Episode 9. Child, this episode gave me a headache, truly. But let's talk about it. All right, so the episode starts off with Sincere pulling Mel for a chat, and he tells her again how he really wants to be in a connection with her and he doesn't want to end it. He says he's not kissing Soul anymore because, Melanie kept asking because she wanted to hear it from his mouth. So he just kept saying, Melanie, you're my priority. I was just exploring. So, that's what we're here for. We're here to explore, but I no longer want to explore that connection. I really enjoy our connection and I really want to move forward with that. Just lies, of course. And of course, Melanie was just eating it up, yada, yada, yada. She just wanted to be chosen. And then Sincere picked her up and they were walking. Well, he was walking through the villa with her in his hands. And she just say, aha, I got my man back. Cringe. I was just like, for the time being, you do. Sincere, you are a liar. You are such a liar. And I just cannot stand it. All right. And then Corbin, Chat GPT. I'm sorry, y'all ate with that. I wrote that one down because that literally is how his personality seemed when he first got into the villa. Like, are you a real person? Do you have real emotions? Like, anywho. So, so Corbin, he pulls, or he's talking to Naya or whatever, and pretty much he's talking to her about his problems with Kenzie. Of course, because Anaya is there to be a therapist and not an islander. Anywho, and Anaya reassures him and stuff like that, and he pretty much explains like why he wanted to explore things with Mel, and because of what Kenzie got going on, she's in between two different people. Honestly, I think after she mentioned the whole roster thing to him, like he lost interest. Like he was just like, oh yeah, let me go explore other people. And then Zach pulls Casey for a chat, and they go to the dock, and pretty much Zach explains to Casey that what's going on with Bryce, the fact that Bryce may not be as happy in his couple as everybody thinks he is, and the fact that Bryce literally told him that he wants to pull Kata for a chat. And then Casey was just like, huh? Like, WTF? Like, what? What? Why? Why? Like, that's just weird. Like, he just seems very emotionally immature. And I'm like, ooh, there's something going on between. I know there's something going on between Zach and Bryce in Zach's head, but is there something going on between Casey and Bryce? It seems like there might be like a little beef there. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But their dynamic just seems odd together. And Bryce then goes and actually pulls Kata for a chat, and they go to say less. And Kata was just like, I was about to make me a grilled cheese, but okay, sure. I guess we can chat. Like, what? So, they go and chat, whatever. And pretty much during their chat, Bryce is like, like, I feel like, I'm happy with my connection with Trinity, but I really just wanted to, make sure that I'm not robbing myself from the experience and making sure I'm exploring and talking to everybody that I feel like I had at least a little bit of, a connection with, just to make sure that I'm not, giving myself or doing like a disadvantage to myself, whatever. And she's just looking at him like, the heck? And she reminded him again for the who knows how many th time that I only see this as like a friendship dynamic. Like I don't see like the romantic aspect or chemistry there. And then he was just like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand. Like, I just wanted to make sure, you know, to see if there was anything there. There's not. How many times do you need to make sure there's not anything there? Move on, Bryce. And the fact that you're playing in Trinity's face like this, I actually want a bombshell to come in there for her now. Because like you're playing in her face. You were literally playing in her face and it shows like anywho. And Trinity then, asks Zach, like, how are you feeling about all of this? And then Zach tells her that, it seems odd or whatever. And then she was just telling Zach, like, like I have feelings for him and stuff like that. Like, and it's really bothering me. And then Zach is over here expressing, like, how he thought it was weird that Bryce wanted to pull Kata for a chat when you're part of the reason why, Zach. You were literally in that man's ear telling him, oh, she doesn't like you. Oh, I think me, you, and Kata's dynamic is way better than me, you, Kata, and Trinity's dynamic. And, I don't think she likes you. I think she's just coasting until something comes better. You've been in his ear, but you failed to mention that in this conversation that you have with Trinity, of course. Zach, I don't really care for you. I don't care for you. I don't like the way you're moving in this villa. It seems very distasteful. Um, and then it pans over to a scene of Kenzie. I forgot who she was talking to, but she was talking to somebody and she was crying about Corbin. And I'm just like, Kenzie, why are you crying about one man? Don't you have a roster? Why don't you go to the other parties or party of your roster? Why are you? Is it because you let him DJ yo in the last episode? Is that why? Because now it's more than just like an emotional connection. It got a little physical. Is that the reason why? And then during this episode, you saw a lot of Sincere and Melanie just all lovey dovey, and it was just irritating me because I'm just like, I started to feel bad for Soul. Like you're doing her so dirty, and it's the fact that you're not being honest about how you're moving that's just irritating me. Like you can move how you want to move, but just be in your truth, and that was just really irritating me. And then it's just weird because every time he talks to Mel, he keeps telling her like, it's only you, yada yada. Every time he talks to Soul, he tells her that like, he wants to keep exploring that connection, yada yada. And then every time he talks to the guys, he's telling them that he's stuck in between both. It's like 50-50. Huh? Get Sincere out. I'm sick of him. Send him home. Send him home, please. And then at that night, they were literally showing, when everybody was going to bed, like everybody was getting active. I said, what do they have in that wine that night? Did they put some freaking honey in them? Like, what did y'all eat? Because Mel and Sincere seemed like they were getting active. Corbin and Kenzie looked like they were getting active. And Kata and Zach looked like they were getting active. What did they put in them drinks? They must have had some honey packs or something because what was in the air? And then of course, Trinity put a pillow in between her and Bryce, which was warranted. And Bryce is over here telling her like, I really want to talk to you tomorrow. I really want to talk things out. And she's just like, okay, like, don't play in her face and then try to come back and sugar her up. Like, I just did not like that at all. And then, Bryce pretty much explains to his friend Zach the next day, like, no more exploring Kata. Yeah, because how many times does she needs to shoot you down for you to just give it up? She doesn't want to. Move on, move on, move on. And then the next morning, Sincere, he's making dinner, not dinner. Sincere, he makes breakfast for Melanie, and then he tries to sneak and make a plate for Soul as well. And he gave Soul a plate, and she came and hugged him. And you see Melanie far away watching with like an evil eye. I said, Lord, these witches on this show this season are scaring me. You got to pray every night after watching these episodes, Lord. Not only is it filled with lust, but it's a lot of evil energy going on over there. And you gotta make sure when you watching, you gotta make sure you prayed up, honey, because oof, oof, God, Jesus, fix it. And then, as everybody's chilling or whatever, um, Kenzie pulls Soul for a chat, and she literally talks to Soul about like, I can tell that Sincere really likes you, and I don't want you to feel like you're alone in this house. I want to be a friend to you. This is that and the third. Kenzie, are you only having this conversation with her because you feel like are you low key, like, do you low key feel some type of way towards Mel still? And is that the reason why you're trying to be there for Soul during this time? And I'm like, it's funny how you're saying that, you could tell Sincere really likes her, but you're still all up in Melanie's face and y'all are all telling her the same. You know what? I'm gonna mind my business. Just don't be spiteful, Kenzie. If you're gonna be trying to reach out to her and be a friend to her, just be a nice and good person. Don't try to be spiteful to get back towards Mel because you're mad that she pulled Corbin for a chat. And then Trinity and Bryce finally get to have their conversation. And I really love the direction that Trinity took the conversation because she brought up the fact that, like, the way you're moving and the way you did that does not make me feel good. She's like, because like, we're pretty much like an interracial couple, and like the way you're moving kind of makes me feel bad because it makes me think like, dang, what if like a brunette who looks like Kata ends up coming in as a bombshell, and because you're more comfortable with that person because they're your skin color, you're probably going to go towards that. Like, that's how you're making me feel. And of course, he reassured her, whatever. And I'm just like, dang, Trinity, for her to be young, I already was like, she's a young hoe coming in here, like she's, here to have a good time, but she's actually very mature in my opinion. I feel like she's very emotionally mature, and love that about her down. And then, while everybody's having a conversation or whatever, Corbin gets a text, and the text is pretty much announcing the challenge that they're about to do and how the challenge is called Sweet as Pie. And then Kata gets a text afterwards, and it kind of tells more details about what the challenge is going to be consisted of. So, of course, they mentioned that Sierra from Summer House and a lady named Teffy will be coming to host the game. Those are the ladies that are also hosting the After Sun as well. So I was like, okay, cool. Then, everybody gets dressed for the challenge, and the ladies come in or whatever, and they pretty much go over the objective of the games. Long story short, they ask a question. The girls on one side, the dudes are on one side, and pretty much all the girls and all the dudes have to determine who the question aligns with the most, and whoever that question aligns with the most, they either get pied if it's like a bad thing, and if it's a good thing, they get kissed by the person that they're coupled up with. Sometimes it might be somebody else that they're not coupled up with. And one thing I noticed I said, Soul kind of looked dark during this episode. I put in parentheses, that witch is angry. She just looked very dark in this episode. And I'm just like, oof, what is going on? And then, what's her name? Jen. Don't know much about her. She don't really pop up on the screen as much. I don't think she's bombshell worthy. But she did eat when she went past Sincere and was just like, I know you're sincere, but you're not honest. I said, oh, tens. She ate with that. She ate with that, okay? And the Sincere was confused on why. What are you confused about, sir? What are you confused about? You are not sincere. You are a liar. Why are you confused? You should have expected that. Anywho, another thing I wrote down, I was like, this challenge is like an audition for Casey. He's trying to make sure he got the gigs lined up for whenever he leaves this villa, because the way that he was working them words, wording everything when he was about to pie the person or kiss the person, I was just like, Casey, oh, okay, okay, with your improv. I was like, okay. And then, I honestly think seeing Sincere and Milk all kissed up and hugged up was eating Soul alive. To the point that, you know, They pied her like a couple of times from what we saw on screen, but I don't know what happened off camera. But when Zach had came and pied her the last time, she was pissed. She like threw the freaking pie off of her, and she started crying, was saying she's just sick of this villa. She wants to leave. She walked off crying. This is down the third, and it was just a lot going on. Some people were trying to comfort her, whatever, but it just seemed like she was going through a lot. And then Zach was just making it about him, talking about some. Oh, of course, it's when I pipe the person. Um, that's when the girl cries. I'm just like, Zach, get over it. It's not about you. Anywho, and he's gonna say, it's just a game. Zach, I don't like you. I'm sorry. I didn't have it in my cards to not like little Charlie. But I do not like him. I'm ready for him to go. He just seems very ugly on the inside, and it's starting to show more and more. With more like, I was wondering why we weren't seeing him as much on the screen, but the more he speaks and talks, is the more I realize why. You're not a good person on the inside, and I'm overseeing you on my screen. Next, I did put down that so Bea, she was walking around, talking about a guy or whatever. I forgot what the question was, but she ended up kissing Caleb, and Gabriel thought it was gonna be him. Like the way she was talking, describing it, for some reason, Gabriel thought it was him. So when she went and kissed Caleb, he was pissed and confused. And he was just like, "Oh, she was big on communication." And I didn't know she felt that way about Caleb. She never said anything about Caleb, and that's just weird to me. And he literally, when I tell you, he beat that dead horse. That horse was dead 30 years ago, and he just kept beating it. I'm just like, Gabriel, let it go. Like after I'm like, why are you upset? Like you don't even like the girl like that. Like, what's the issue? Anywho, um, and then after the challenge was over, clearly Soul was still feeling some type of way. And, Casey went up to her and was just like, look, like, I know you don't want to talk now, but after the challenge, I do want to talk to you to talk about things so you don't have to feel alone. This is that and third. And Soul was just looking at him like, get away from me, demon. And he's just like, you're looking at me like the devil, but I'm like, sincerely, I really do want to talk to you. And then you hear and see Mel talking to Sincere, talking about something like, hey, like, I do want to pull her for a chat to be there for her because I don't want her to feel alone, which I respected a lot about her for doing. Do I trust her intentions? Not all the way, but I do respect her for, putting her differences aside to at least want to have a conversation with her. And then Sincere was just like, why? Sincere does not want them speaking to each other. He wants them to stay apart so that he can put one thing in this person's ear, another thing in this person's ear to keep both of his options on the table. And I'm like, I was just like, he didn't even go and try to comfort her or anything after she cried. Like Sincere, he definitely wants to keep them separated from each other. And I just really didn't like the fact that he didn't even try to go and comfort her when she bursted out crying. Like, stay away from him. And then, Sincere pulls her later on to, have a conversation with her in the speakeasy. And it just seemed like I didn't like the energy that he had. It seemed like he kind of made it like friend zoney. And I was like, oh, so he really off of her. I don't know. Mel, Anaya, and Trin were in Say Less, and they were talking about the love triangle between Sincere, Mel, and Soul. And she was just talking about something, um, we're gonna just work it out, and I'm just gonna have to keep forgiving him. So I'm probably gonna have to forgive him again. He's probably gonna be kissing her again. I'm gonna just keep forgiving him. And I'm just like, where's the self-worth? What? Mm-mm. And then, you know, next thing you know, Ariana comes walking in, and everybody hates seeing her because she's the person that brings the bad news. So she comes in or whatever, brings everybody to the fire pit, and pretty much tells them like, "Hey, America has been voting on who they feel like the bombshell should be coupled up with," and everybody's like, oh my gosh, whatever." And then Sincere whispers in Mel's ear and is like, "Whatever happens, we'll make this work." I'm like, I hate this guy. I cannot stand this man. The bombshells they get up, and one by one they announce who all is going to be coupling up with the new people, whatever. And of course, Jen gets paired up with Gabe, and that makes Beatrice vulnerable, single and vulnerable. Next thing you know, Caleb he gets coupled up with Kenzie, and that makes Corbin single and vulnerable. Next, Soul gets coupled up with Insincere, and Melanie becomes vulnerable. And the next thing you know, Ariana was like, "There's two ladies up here. There's one male. Y'all do the math." So of course, Corbin chooses Mel to couple up with. So now they're a couple, and Beatrice ends up being dumped from the island. So everybody's crying. So she was trying to make herself cry. It was just not working. But Trinity was bawling her eyes out. Gabriel was very emotional, which I was surprised by, honestly. And everybody else was emotional. And all the ladies walk with Beatrice to the dressing room to help her pack her bags, and she's just like, "Y'all, like, stop crying, like, you know be positive, like, I didn't die, I'm just going home, like, everything's gonna be okay." And they all went and took pictures with her in the dressing room, not the dressing room, in the photo booth. And as she's packing her bags with the ladies, Gabriel comes in, and they go out and talk. And honestly, I thought this moment was so beautiful. Like, it was too beautiful to be true, in my opinion. Like, Gabriel was, expressing his love and his feelings to her about her in Spanish. And I was just like, what? Who is this guy? I was like, but it was beautiful though. I was like, oh, that's a perfect way to leave, in my opinion. Like, somebody saying that to you, like, that's a good feeling. So I was like, oh, wow. And then, she ended up leaving, and everybody was saying bye. And child, how y'all think these new couples are gonna be? I feel like, Melanie, if you're really serious about the speech that you gave, um, maybe you and Corbin could be something. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to see. And I wonder if Sincere is really gonna give his connection with Soul a chance, instead of trying to keep chasing the thrill of a love triangle, because it just it screams toxic to me. You know. So we shall see how these new couples are. Kenzie, she didn't seem happy about it. I'm like, why are you upset? You're with your other part of your roster, honey. Like, what's wrong? It's because you done already gave that kitty up. You're mad that he's with somebody else, let alone Mel. I don't know, child. We'll see on Sunday night how these new connections are forming and flourishing, if they are. So, but thank y'all for tuning in again. If you're new, please, or old, whatever. If you're just a returning person, or you're a new person and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Come on, join the club. It's a royalty over here, all right? But thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed this review, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend that we're here to stay, honey. We are here to stay. Even after Love Island, we're gonna get into other things. We might get into beauty related things. Not might. We will get into beauty related things soon. But once we get through this summer, this Love Island summer, we're gonna tap more into that beauty aspect. Okay. But again, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. And yeah, see y'all next time. Bye.